Now let's begin in Nigeria, where the hashtag End Bad Governance protest, which started peacefully and left 17 people at least dead, they've started trial of the prosecution of demonstrators who have been arrested and detained in some parts of the nation, especially in the northern parts. Now we'll then move to Rwanda, where Paul Kagame was inaugurated as the president on Sunday for a fourth term after winning the elections with over 99% of the vote. This is The Conversation. I'm Darshan Usman. Let's talk. The prosecution of protesters from the hashtag End Bad Governance movement in Nigeria has exposed significant regional differences, with northern states actively pursuing charges against over 1,100 individuals. Now, states like Yobe, Kano, Gombe, Kaduna, Bauchi, Katsina, and Borno are leading the charge with various offenses, including vandalism and unlawful assembly. Now, while some states have released protesters on health and age grounds, others continue to detain and prosecute, sparking criticism from activists who argue that this approach suppresses dissent and may incite further unrest. Now, joining me on the show, that's The Conversation, to discuss more on this. First of all, we have Ibrahim Hussaini Abdulkarim, DG, Big Tent, Kaduna, and we also have Okiki Adeniran, legal practitioner, Lagos, Nigeria. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us on The Conversation.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
All right, let's begin with you, Ibrahim. Now, you were involved and are a victim in the hunger protest. Can you briefly share with us your experience during this protest?
Yeah, I'm here in Kaduna. I think one of the conversation I raised, not only to the security agencies, to even leadership in the northern part of the country, is that if you are calling for protest has to be guided. We know the volatile system we have. We are sitting on the cake of gunpowder in the north here, with teeming young people not having anything to do and very angry. So my conversation is that why not allow it to come with the leadership? Because if you suppress it and remove leadership on it, then definitely there's going to be chaos. And a lot of people didn't listen to what we are trying, like a week or 2 weeks to the protest. I reached out to all the people that I think they can listen. I told them that it's very important. If you're comparing what happened during the Jonathan's era, that was leadership. We saw the present president of Nigeria was involved, high-profile people, Falana, Tunde Bakar, and others, which gave the leadership for us to get what we want from the PDP government as then to reduce the price of the petrol that they have adjusted in 2012. So if you look at what is happening here, the young people gave a notice of 30 days. And within those 30 days, I thought we will organize, civil society will organize how this outing is supposed to be. But our government tried to use its own strategy and trying to refuse to allow people to come out. I think one of the major stand they have is that the protest should not take place at all in the northern part of the country. And I don't think it's being fair to the northerners and the people that are angry for people just to walk away from what they think is their fundamental human right. So I was out to join them. They passed through very close to my house on Monday, on the first day, that's on Thursday. And when I went out to join, I realized that there is no leadership. And I saw an army of young people from 6 years old, 7 years old to 16 years old. You barely see people that are looking
Okay, those people you
were
said,
organized.
you saw, are they were they the peaceful protesters or those that wielded
Very, very
weapons?
peaceful. I joined them. Very, very peaceful. And I was snapping and I was sending. I was going up the bridge, capturing them. Very peaceful. And I didn't see anyone holding anything, a knife or anything that can harm anybody. What they are just chanting is that the government should reduce the fuel price, and the life is very hard for them. And I follow children, women, young women, a lot of people on the street on the first day. So when we reached to a roundabout, two roundabouts, the government house, we have seen the smokes coming up, and then a gunshot firing. Then I told them it's time for them to go back home. I was telling some people that are around me, I said, how can we now convince them to go back? Because no need for them to die, and they have like 9 more days for them to continue what they are doing. And that's what I understand the power of the leadership. When I talk to them, some few ones are saying, no, we have to reach the government house. But the few of them
Okay. Just to be clear, were you in any way injured or even arrested or detained?
No, no. I was arrested in the second day. I was just speaking to you about the first day. The first day I moved them, I told them, go back home and come back tomorrow 8 o'clock. And then I was surprised because I thought there was leadership with them. I realized there was no any leadership. So they followed me because we moved with the band and we went back. And I was almost getting to 5,000 or 6,000 young people on that street on that day. Okay. So we went back, and then the next morning, we came out to do a more organized protest, well more organized. And we put up to bring a DJ and also to have a direction where we can take them and bring them back home so that they can at least successfully do another peaceful protest.
All right.
After we reached the Cow Bridge, all of a sudden we just saw police just coming. As the police were on the left side and we were on the right side of the main way, you just start firing. No any warning.
No warning.
As they come, they started firing live ammunition on the air and just firing what they call it
tear gas
to the young people. And the young people, everybody scattered and started running. I stood my ground and I refused to move. And the commissioner went around, the commissioner of police Kaduna State went around and come back, and he said that they should arrest me. So I didn't move, I didn't run. And then they took me to Wanrigachiku police station. From there, they moved me to the state headquarters. And that's where I understand that we really, really have to make sure that we change this, end this bad government, because that's where I see naked how bad society has rotten.
All right, Ibrahim, thank you so much.
In the police, on my detention in the police custody from 9 o'clock in the morning to 10:30 in the evening.
All right, thank you so much for sharing, some of your experience with us during the protest. Now let's move to Okiki. Okiki, you've heard all that he has said. Now, considering that everyone has the right to protest, can you tell us how exactly? And we actually heard that over 1,000 people were arrested and they're on trial at the moment. Can you actually tell us how these charges against the protesters is actually justified under the Nigerian law, especially or particularly when it comes to on the charge that's unlawful assembly?
Yes, thank you for having me again. Specifically to talk about the unlawful assembly, I believe that the charge of unlawful assembly being placed on the protesters by the police is actually unfair. We cannot deny the fact that, Mr. Ibrahim said, we cannot deny the fact that there were notices regarding these protests. The police were aware about the protest, and in fact, they knew that they were going to be gathering at a particular place. So charging, these young folks, under unlawful assembly will not be fair. It's not fair at all. Having said that, I'd like to refer to the fact that, the protests, most especially in the North, Kano, Kaduna, and some other places, went violent. I like to also add that these issues that came up regarding being violent, I guess, was probably instigated by certain people. Like Mr. Ibrahim had said, he had said that it was there, it was peaceful. They were trying to, have a peaceful assembly and, to move around as regards the protest. But subsequently, the police came and started shooting at them. And, I'd said before that you cannot repel force with force. A peaceful protester who has, been thinking about what has been happening in Nigeria decided to come out to protest, and then the next thing he sees that the government is protesting against, starts, shooting against, shooting at him. So and what you will probably see will be that the person will, want to revolt in a particular way. Is it right to, turn a peaceful protest to a violent one? No, it is not. However, our security agencies should learn that in issues or in cases like this, they need to take proper caution, as regards, calming people down and ensuring that they use proper instruments to disperse people instead of, live ammunitions.
Okay, now let's come back to you, Ibrahim. Now, looking at, the number of people who are actually on trial at the moment, whether it's they're using mobile courts or, the court itself. Can you tell us what this means, to try such a number of people for protesting in Nigeria? What would the impact be?
I think one of the things that maybe cause things to go this side of to generate into this level is that people that's supposed to be involved are not involved. For example, the media, the lawyers, and also people that are supposed to assist these young people, to be with them, to talk about them, and also to see the condition at which they are. Because one, the arrest is unlawful. Then the detention too is unlawful because some of them, like for example, me, because of my status, maybe I went there and I refused to even write any statement. I told them I have to wait for my lawyer. But I see the young people, nobody to support them. They don't have lawyers, nobody to be with them. And I was standing down there. I have to wait for my lawyer to come. And when my lawyer came and I started, they asked me questions and I wrote my statement and my lawyer demand for my release on bail. But those other young people that are with me, nobody is there. And I was so shocked on that second day, on the third day, when I read on the newspaper and also I saw on the social media, the PRO of the Nigerian police at headquarters said there was no arrest on Friday. And I know I was arrested on Friday and my report has been taken and also I was detained for almost getting to 10 hours. And I can't understand what kind of country are we trying to create? Why the lies? Why not tell someone that we've been arrested and they were arrested for this? And one of the things that really pained me most in that after giving me, they released only me that day and they said I should come on Monday to go to court. And they assembled a court on Monday. And I went to the court.
Was it a magistrate court or a mobile court?
It's a magistrate court.
Okay.
They took me to. And I went, two of us, because they arrested only two of us from the Kawo axis. So, but they brought a lot of young people to the same court, but my trial is different. So when I went for my trial, and when the policeman is reading, he read something very awkward. All the charges he wrote, he knows he's lying. That's not what really happened. They didn't, we are not, it's not unlawful assembly. None of us is carrying any weapon, and there was no any disturbance of peace and of the area. But they concorded what they will concord to say. And in front of everybody, I said not guilty because there is no way somebody can say he's guilty.
Okay, but just to be clear, right? We know that some of these protesters. They might not be legal protesters, but some of them actually wielded weapons. Were they in cahoots with the peaceful protesters? Did they at some point, come together to march against bad governance?
What happened is that in Kaduna and Kano and other places, there was already what you call flashpoint, because in Kano, There is this tussle between the APC and the NMPP that is happening in Kaduna. There is the issue of the Shiite and also the government that is happening. So they know how to penetrate the system. And there is some young people that actually come out to loot. That's why I say leadership is very important, and they give notice for 1 month. I think they're supposed to organize how it's supposed to be so that like, for example, what we see in Lagos. Lagos, the police commissioner was with them and they participated. Even the one that you are showing on your television now, you can see how people are well organized and they do their protests very well. So I think Kaduna, what happened in Kaduna, they just want to suppress and say there is nobody is going to come out. Definitely, there are some young people that have carried that are carrying weapons, but actually they are taking instruction from somebody, not within the instruction of the people organizing the protest. So what really happened is that once they now arrest them, they joined everybody into one cell. The cell they took us to, you see the kidnappers are there, armed robbers are there, every other person is there, which I think is not good for the young people because their offense is protest. Then the IGP of police has already said it clearly that those without weapon, those that are captured not causing or burning any places or causing unruly behaviors in the town, they should be released. That's what they tell them to do. But they just release those that can have a way for them to be released and just kept those that they think they have nobody
all right, just
to
before
reach out
I move to Okiki, were young people and elderly people arrested or were they let go?
They're only young people. I have not seen any elderly. Okay. I have just seen young people.
Young people. What was the age range, or what's the age range between?
Age range around 17 to 25, or 17 to 20 to 24.
Okay. All right. Let me come back to you, Okiki. Now, he talked about mobile courts, being used to try some of the arrested protesters. Now, how does the use of mobile courts in handling these cases, impact the fairness and also the transparency of the legal process?
Yeah, I believe that the use of mobile courts is basically because of the number of people that we have arrested, right? Mobile courts, as it is, it's a court of summary jurisdiction. In the sense that it won't take a lot of time before most of the cases are tried, and if not found guilty, probably be discharged. So in this case, just like we have heard, the use of mobile courts will actually and will certainly help serve justice quickly. I'd like to add this, that in criminal proceedings like this, it is expected that the prosecutor has very, very cogent evidence against the accused. And this is what we've heard, that certain people, some of them, the young ones, even like the elderly ones, some of them were just protesting peacefully rather than being violent. And being in court, you can be sure that if the court will be fair, it should be done and it should be heard in a fair manner, in the sense that the justice or the judge or the magistrate should ensure that evidence put before the magistrate speaks directly to the offense that has been stated in the charge. Just like Mr. Ibrahim said, some of the offenses that I was put in the charge were not even, could not be contested or could not be, proven before the court. And you can be sure that if this is the issue, most of the arrested protesters will be let go. So to go back to the question, basically the mobile courts will be used, so that proceedings can be very fast and it won't be elongated, just like we have it in some places.
All right, now speaking of these proceedings that you talk about, there has been criticism from the international community. We've heard from Amnesty International as well. Do you think it influences the legal proceedings and outcomes of these cases in any way?
Yeah, I believe that, well, as it is, just like I've mentioned, it will influence the outcome of the proceedings, and it will influence it in a positive way, because as we have it now, the mobile courts helps, just like we have it in Lagos. If it's traffic offense, it can be tried there and there, and the magistrate gives a judgment and then you move on to another one. So it will help the justice of the case. Mr. Ibrahim has mentioned that all the protesters that put together with the kidnappers and other robbers and other people, it will help decongest the cell quickly, and let go of the people that are not even protesters, or probably not even accused of wrongdoing. So I believe that the mobile court is the right place to take them to, and to ensure that things are done quickly and properly.
Okay, now let's come back to you, Ibrahim. Now, we heard in one of our interviews on News Central, Omoyele Sowore actually said that their plans for a comeback of the protests come 1st October. Right now, I want to know, or I want to hear from you, because you're like a mouthpiece for us in the north there. Will the crackdown or heavy-handed approach by the government affect future protests? Will this arrest, will the detention, will the injuries that the protesters have actually suffered, will it affect any chances of future protests, especially that for 1st October?
I think it's a wake-up call to almost all of us. I think from the Vice President himself, who has spoken, I know the Governor of Kaduna, Hussaini, has spoken too, and also Governor of, Nasarawa and Gombe. They all spoke in the same direction, that in the north, we have a very serious issues and a very serious problem. These young people must be guided. We can't just have a society where people will just throw away just their children on the street. Uneducated, without job, without anything to put for their own lives. You understand? There is no any hope that they have, and then people are being frustrated because of the issue of the kidnapping. People cannot go to their farms because of what is happening in the villages, and a lot of issues in the northern part of the country. And most especially, the thing that is really hurting the north is the issue of leadership. You can see in Kano, we have a situation where we have two sitting emirs claiming a throne that nobody can intervene between them, or somebody that would talk on their behalf to clear out. So my worry is that somebody will be somewhere in London or in US, and somebody will have an organized outing and calling for another protest, which will not go well for us, because we know the time bomb we are still in the northern part of the country. And I know these young people are going to come out. They are not happy with what happened now. My fear is that I don't want them to come out, maybe to start burning people's houses, and also maybe they will not even be on the street. Maybe
hopefully we'll get to that.
Protest. Yeah, we can to replace what they call to replace riot with a protest. So it's actually on our own good for us. No matter what we do, we try as much as possible to make sure that at least between now and that October 1st, let's start talking to our young community
and this
leaders.
Is the reason why, Ibrahim, I actually want you to tell us, the repercussions for government if these trials are actually seen as politically motivated or even unfair.
Yeah, actually, it's not going to give a good outing if these people didn't get the right hearing, and also they use the power to maybe suppress people. They can only suppress them for a period of time. And maybe this one they gave a notice. Maybe we don't know when the next one is going to come. There's not going to be any notice. But I think that they can make best use of what happened within this 10 days of protest to now see how they are going to at least put suko, because hunger is hunger. It's a language that any other person can understand. So they should not take it like NSAS protest or any other protest that NLC and others are creating. These are people that are coming out to say we are hungry. The life is too hard for us. And we want SUKO, we want government to look at this, and also we want them to end this bad governance, and also to make sure that at least we have a better life. If people are still feeling this, and then coupled with now a bad judgment on their children and their, what happened in Zaria when an army personnel shot for the curfew, shot a boy in front of his house when they took 300,000 also. You can see the conversation is not really going the direction any other person, more especially in the North, we are thinking of. So I think we need a lot of enlightenment, a lot of people to understand that we can achieve the same protest as it happened in Lagos and also take place here. But what we need is that the leadership, we need those people, those SAs, those commissioners, those ministers, those youth leaders, women leaders, all those people that used to say we are talking on behalf of people, collecting spaghetti on behalf of people, rapper on behalf of people, and share. Let those people be at the forefront so that it will not be given out to those hoodlums and those people that don't have even direction. For example, I ask people, okay, what if at the end of the 10th day, Mr. President said, okay, every zone, every state should now give their demand, which is called the Charter of Demand. So the Lagos guy, we have seen people well-educated, lecturers, teachers are going to give. But the kind of people we are seeing on the street in Kano, those hoodlums we are seeing, are they the ones that are going to give the Charter of Demand for Kaduna, for Kano, for the North? That's my question. We have to have people that know it's the issue of life and death. These are people that are crazy. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they want to do. They are just angry and they want to ventilate their anger outside. Okay. Then we have unprofessional people in the police that they don't even know what the difference between regime protection and also civil liberty of people. All come to converge on one area, which is going to cause a lot of problem and a lot of issues. Okay. So I think for now, I think the North has already taken its own share. We have seen that the neglect that we have done, and also this the Amajiri issue and every other social vices that we already have in the North, is for us to put us together to make sure that at least we give hope, we give education, we give skills, we give jobs to these teeming young people. At least we just finished from Olympics. These young people can be athletes, they can be footballers,
Ibrahim.
Any other sport that they want to do. I think we need to do something in the North. Actually, we can't leave it like this to continue.
All right, let's look at the positives now, Okiki. Are there legal protections that can be afforded, by the protesters under the Nigerian law? Do you think that these are actually being upheld in the current prosecutions as well?
Well, there are ways at which the protester can be protected, actually. The Constitution gives an accused an opportunity to defend himself or herself. However, I believe that in this case, organizations such as the NBA or other civil organizations will probably, get into action right now to defend the rights of these protesters. And also, we say that Mr. Ibrahim has spoken so well about what was done regarding his own case. I believe he also can help the young protesters, in encouraging lawyers who are on ground to help the protesters. I'll give an example of Lagos. At the time when the protest was on, we had colleagues who were at the protest ground, and immediately these protesters were arrested. They moved together to the station and they got their bail immediately. So I believe that such things can be done in case we have a grant. We can encourage or try to beckon on organizations such as we have legal aid under the NBA that can produce or suggest lawyers to the protesters, and in fact visit them at the station and at the courts to fight for their rights and get them out of the police cell.
All right, just before we wrap up with you, Okiki, what role do accusations of foreign influence, such as waving the Russian flag, play in the legal proceedings and political discourse?
Right. I believe that the waving of the Russian flag, right? I believe it's a very wrong step to take. Right. I believe that, in fact, if we have an issue in our country and we have an issue presently regarding leadership, it shouldn't get to the stage where we, fly a flag that is not our own flag. And the meaning of that, or the question we should ask regarding that, is that to what end are the protesters doing this? Yeah, are we trying to call for the infiltration of that particular, country. Just like we said on this platform, it is very important that we are guided as regards what we do, even when we try to ventilate our points and also our grievances to the government. We need to take proper steps and be within the ambit of the law when trying to state things that we believe should be done by the government. So I believe that the waving of the flag, right, is not legal. Is not what should have been done by the protesters. I'll give another example. I remember during the NSAS protest, at Lekki toll gate, the protesters were only waving the Nigerian flag, and it's in fact says one thing about the protesters or the citizens, that we are patriotic about the country, and that is why you're waving your flag. Waving on that country's flag, right, is not and should not be encouraged by any quarter.
Okay. Just before, in 30 minutes, Ibrahim, let's hear from you about, waving, 30 seconds, I beg your pardon. Let's hear from you about, those protesters that were arrested, including the tailor, for waving a Russian flag.
That's what will happen if you allow people that don't know who they are. Nobody defines them to be citizens. They take drugs, and there's no coordination. If there's, let's say, Hussaini in front of them, they will not carry the flag, because he will not allow them, because he knows the consequences of for carrying a foreign dissent. In my own group, there is no way I can allow anybody to carry it, because I know the consequences for carrying another country's flag. So I think when you allow things uncontrollable, definitely it's going to have a problem with you. Open a tap in your house, leave it open. By the time you come back in the night, you will not like to sleep in that house, because it's going to mess up everything for you. That's why we have control. We open it. Even your electricity, we have control over it. Even your air conditioning, we have control. Nothing is allowed uncontrollable. Why would we unleash and allow a whole protest to take place in the north without people being involved to participate in it? If you can't stop it, you go to the television, the imam said they should not come out. They say we must come out. We are going to come out. Then if you know that at the final hours that they are going to come out, then make sure that you come out with them and guide them. Look at them, look at their ages. They don't even know what they are carrying. They don't even know what the significance of carrying it. If you ask them why, they don't know. They just say they are just hungry and angry.
Okay. All right. Well, it was quite an interesting conversation. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me on the conversation and speaking on this. Ibrahim Hussaini Abdulkarim, Director General, Big Tent, all the way from Kaduna, and Okiki Adeniran, legal practitioner here in Lagos, Nigeria. We appreciate you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.